Hello and welcome, and well, if you didn't join us a short time ago, Cleo's from Brands Hatch, it was epic racing, but we're back on the sofas. Myself, Tim Cox, with Sam Fitzpatrick. Well, it's another week, another round of Porsche Cup. I mean, what a season it's been so far, and we haven't really got into the depths of the season, not really. Well, maybe just starting getting into the nitty-gritty of proceedings.
Yeah, I think as well, of course, after this we have a bit of a break week, so this is going to be like the first kind of strand of the season so far, and we go to a very different circuits as well. This is a complete change up. I love the variety of circuits that we visit this season, because we've gone to Brands Hatch already, we've been to VAR, very tight, twisty, narrow circuits. We completely change it up. Monza for this evening of racing, and it's going to be a completely different ball game.
It is. You could not get more chalk and cheese to what we've had so far this season. And, well, I mean, you say about VAR, should we take a little look back at what happened last time out of VAR?
Yes.
I think we had some absolutely cracking moves. Early on today, I took a little look at what were my pick of the bunch from each of the races we had last week. Here are some of the best moves from each of the races. First up, Heat 1 was this cracker, Kleinecht in the Deutsche Payment car there. Beautiful move up the inside. Well, technically the outside. He's moved into roller coaster there, kept his nose right in the game to get the move done. Heat 2 start, third wrangler. You see him just in the middle there. Got a really poor start, and that just compacted the field up to cause this absolute symphony of chaos cars left, right, and centre. Next up, Lani on Weitzig. Through the S's, full commitment, no messing whatsoever, getting the move done. Then, well, this is where it got interesting, the free wide here. Brilliant move from Vertlanger to get it done. Now, into the start of the final, Velgut tried to work alongside his teammate, but just got it wrong. Ended up outbraking himself, falling off the track as the rest of the field streamed through. No incident for them. Certainly a lot better start than we saw in Heat 2. Just by trying to just cover the move off to secure that pulse 1-2, well, it just didn't work out. Ends up falling off the track. And such a shame for them, but check this move out. Full commitment. Down the back straight. Let's go free wide. Let's go for it. This was Madsen getting the double overtake done before he even reached the turn in. Roberts, well, this is the effect of just manoeuvring your opponent around, moving left, moving right, and then you can swoop through up the inside. It was a cracking move from the Brit. And next up, Madsen again, full commitment through the S's. Better than the early one. Watch this. I mean, how do you describe that one? Bit of argy-bargy, but got the move done. But let's talk about this week. Let's talk about Monza, the cathedral of speed. So iconic the world around, just known for, well, essentially it's not a lot to it really, but the memes, turn one. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all seen the Reddit posts, Twitter, YouTube, all of them. Big braking zone down into Prima Variante there. Can potentially, even if you're on the outside, you can get the move done. It's a bit of an interesting one, and then it's full throttle all the way through turn 3. No messing whatsoever into Seconda Variante, or Della Roggio's is also known. Big braking zone. Again, like turn 1 and 2, you could be on the inside and the outside and still get it. Ideally, you want to be on the outside, because then that just gives you the inside line there, coming through into the first of the two Lesmos. Not so much of an overtaking opportunity there, but what you need to be careful of is just behind me here, there's a great big gravel trap. Very easy to run wide out there and just lose the rear a little bit. Then you want to be taking plenty of curb just on the inside here, the second of the two Lesmos. And then, again, full throttle underneath the oval, under the bridge, and then into Ascari. Bit of a tricky corner here, and you need to be careful because quite a few people, we've all seen it, haven't we? Just in that mid part of the corner there, just can lose it, especially this runoff through turn 10. And you need to just have your wits about you. Then, the run down to Parabolica. I mean, let's face it, that's what it's really called. I know it's been renamed, but it's like the bus stop at Daytona. Again, bit of a tricky entry, but it's all about that exit. Almost a little bit slow in, fast out, because of course you've then got that big long run down to turn 1 again, and the fun begins yet again. Who's going to come out on top? Well, it's all going to, I think, be down to a bit of setup. How much wing those drivers are running. Do they want to risk it and have top speed down all the straights and then be a little bit loose through the corners? Or do you play it a little bit more safe? Remains to be seen, but we'll find out soon. And of course, Sam, seeing obviously Monza there in all of its glory. I love this place. Different race format tonight. You've changed things up.
Yeah, it's very different to what we usually have. So, of course, we usually have the elimination heat format, which is where we have a couple of heats and then a B final and then an A final. Instead, tonight, we are going back to GT3 Trophy, really, because it's just an hour-long race with 60% fuel capacity, which means that the drivers will have to take a pit stop around the 35 to 40 minute mark. We believe pit stops are so rare in this Porsche Cup. It's a bit unusual. 20 instant points as well, the drivers are limited to, compared to the normal 16 before they get a drive-through penalty. And this format really originates because at Le Mans and at the Nordschleife you can't have heat races around there, because 10-minute races around the Nordschleife is one lap, and iRacing doesn't like one-lap races. We don't ever really like one-lap races, if we're totally honest. And so yeah, very different format for tonight, and yeah, will be a change up for the drivers, a format that for the Porsche Cup specialists they are not familiar with. You very rarely have 30-minute plus Porsche Cup races.
I like one-lap races, but I also like the Daytona 24 hours, and we know how much we disagree on those ones. So
you don't listen to you, Tim.
You know, standard. Why change a habit of a lifetime? But we have had lots of drama so far this season, and it's really sort of changed and evolved the landscape of the championship from round 1 to round 2. Yeah,
and there are, and I say this for Clear Cup as well, but there are so many different drivers that are fighting for the top of those pro standings at the moment. Yeah, so far this season we've had a fair few different race winners, and really no one has been able to put the complete cement on the championship. But it is currently Maxime Marriott who leads the way in the pro category. However, I don't think Marriott has won either of the first 2 A finals this season. It was Thomas Corby who won back at Brands Hatch, of course, and then Pascal Costa won last time out. But Cope wasn't around in VAR, and Costa, I think, got wiped out on lap 1 of his heats at Brands Hatch. So both of them had very compromised season, and it's Marriott, the consistent one, who's been able to take advantage.
Costa was leading into turn 2 into Druids at Brands Hatch, and yes, ended up, well, pretty much in the gravel trap on the outside, and well, that's exactly what happened to them. But let's talk about Pro-Am, Sam. Pound for pound, quite possibly the best championship, regardless whatever the series, in my opinion. Always the Pro-Ams, love to see them. GT3, Mitchell Drysdale, champion overall in GT3s. And was he Pro-Am driver? And you taught us, well, last time out, he had a flyer.
Yeah, and he's only he's second place overall in the overall championship, so very much repeating what Drysdale did. And yeah, you taught us, I think, with a 4th place finish last time out at VIR. Just not making mistakes, you taught us so far this season. We did see he is susceptible to a mistake. He's not the most consistent driver in the world, as you taught us. We did see that in the GT3 Trophy. But so far this season, he's just been knocking in the results. He has been absolutely unflappable, and he's got a deserved lead.
I mean, other drivers to keep an eye out for there are, well, I mean, there's so many of them, really. It seems a shame to try and pick one out. I mean, it could go anywhere, but I think Utorsa's got to be the favourite for that one. Across into AM, and, well, I mean, we have seen so many of the AMs progress, not just through the consolation into the final, but also straight from their heat into the finals at both rounds. It's been... We don't normally tend to get that so much. Yeah, it's been a couple of AMs, I think, who have got through to the A final in both rounds so far this season. VAR, dare I say, it could have been a couple more. There was, it wasn't Pasquale, I think it was Pasquale's teammate, who had a mistake right at the end of the B final. You can check out the Apex Racing League and TV social media pages for a few highlights last time out of VAR, including that slight mistake. But yeah, in the AMs, just as we saw in GT3 Trophy, no one really establishing themselves so far. And this round could be some big points available for the amateur drivers. Just the one race. You can't have a poor heat and then recover in the B final. It's all about that one race. So I can see someone getting a decent advantage after tonight in those AMs. But I think for the AMs, it's going to be more so about not necessarily being fast, just being consistent and keeping it on the track, which is then going to be interesting to see what everyone else ahead of them does, because the Pro-Ams and the Pros, are they going to keep it clean, or are they going to start scrapping away from early stages? Because if it's the former rather than the latter, this could be a real heyday for the AMs to really bank those points. Otherwise, I can see them, you know, maybe being low at the lower end of the standings.
Yeah, if we have an instant on lap 1, which is very possible here at Monza, yeah, all of a sudden it's going to promote a lot of them 10 places. If it doesn't, then yeah, it's going to be trickier for them to get those big points. In the Teams Championship, no drop scores, remember, in the Teams Championship, so every single round counts, and it's the top 2 drivers from each team who contribute to a team's points for each round. 3 drivers maximum for each team, and at the moment it is Impulse Racing who are leading the way, just ahead of Mac Performance SRT and ATRS Esports. ATRS also doing well in the Prototype Championship in the P2 category, runners up at the moment in that, and could see Blackout Motorsports and Chaos Esports, a couple of new drivers to Apex Racing League, also doing very well at the moment. So yeah, I'm curious as to what's going to happen in this race, Tim. I think we're going to see some draft chains, as long as we don't see collisions on that lap one. I'm really hoping, you know, let's be honest, we do like to see a pile up in sim racing. It's quite insane in motorsport generally. But I really hope we don't see any incidents, because I think if everyone keeps it clean, we are going to have potentially 10 cars in a train, like we see in PESC every year, out in the lead, and they might be like that for the entire 60 minutes.
You know how you wouldn't have had the turn 1 pile-up, Sam? If you'd listened to me and we had have run Monza combined with no chicanes, but he wouldn't listen. He would not listen. But I think that's probably a good time to head to a quick break now. Qualifying is not too far from coming to the end, so we're going to catch the end of that one. But yeah, we'll see you on the other side for the end of qualifying, and more importantly, the race. Who's going to take the victory? Well, we'll find out in about an hour's time. See you shortly. Welcome back, welcome back. Qualifying. It's coming into the dying stages. And I can tell you, who is top of the timing sheets? It is Nick Madsen, the Dane, who had an absolute flyer last week, Sam. And to be fair, I've just suddenly thought, based on some of the crazy overtakes that he managed to pull off last week, he should be more called Nick Madsen.
That's really good, Tim. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that one with every chance I've got for you. Marriott in second. Top of the AM qualifiers. Well, we said to keep an eye out for him, and he was our one to watch. Haridash Yutsortas, currently 6th overall, but it's second. Well, driver second to him in the championship. Andrea Del Piccolo.
Del Piccolo.
Sorry, Del Piccolo.
As Andrea very politely.
He did, yes. Apology.
Last time out. Jimmy Mag Performance looking very strong, and of course Madsen had to pull off all those overtakes because he had a qualifying ban last time out at VIR, and so he had to pull off a lot of moves. And how he survived that A final, I do not know. He sent it through the S's, he went 3 wide on the back straight, both moves pulled off perfectly. But I think if he tried them 100 times, I think that was the absolute best scenario he could ever have from that one. He was absolutely crazy in that race, but it works for him. Nicholas Nold, who was very strong so far this season, made a mistake right at the start of the previous race, however, and he has decided to go back to the pits, or not set that time, and I think that is pretty much everyone across. just Loic Lamol, who is the top amateur driver, nearly got to the line. He did not, though. And that is everyone across the line.
You are brutal with those hard and fast cut-offs in qualifying. There's no messing, no overtime. You're not generous, are you?
As we're not messing around as well with the grid, because we have only got... It's a standing start, which is very unusual for an hour-long race, but it's Porsche Cups. So here is the grid, and we'll rattle through it. Madsen on pole, with Marriott in second place. There's Nord, Costa, Kos. Your Tortoise top of the Pro-Ams. Burke, Del Piccolo, Aidan Young, João Afonso in 10th place. Then it's Velgut, Hammer in 12th place. And in 13th is Max Furtwängler, Albert Kottrup, Kevin Richard, Thomas Cope starting surprisingly low down in 16th place. Remember, he won back at Brands Hatch. Then it's Samuel Sproul, Thiago Pereira, Lars Vadsik, Tommy Molliord, Danny Hugendorn, Salvatore Lane, Matteo Stromeri, who's top of the Amjaz Stromeri as well. Then it's Corey Lazarus, Taras, Daracot, Chalet, Lamol, Colashaw, Zanon, Pasquale, Seifert, Zaharia, Eisenring, Berg, Sevilla, Pahontu, Klist, Jordan, Roberts, Sorchuk, Boikema, and Kleinecht. A few drivers serving pit lane starts at the back of the order there. I think those last 5 all with qualifying bounce, but they will start from the grid. Apologies.
Maybe not a bad thing necessarily, because well, the only way is up, Sam, and you can see everything that's happening in front of you. Being in the midfield, it can be a bit tasty.
Yeah, I think for Sorchuk he'll be half glad about that one. I think for Roberts, who could, I think, got the pace for a pole position, he'll be a bit disappointed. Interestingly, the only drivers not on the grid are Madsen in first and Costa in fourth. These top guys leaving it right to the last in order to grid up. Madsen's the only one from pole position. We've got 6 more seconds. Nick needs to get a move on with this one.
He's got plenty of time, Sam.
No, 3 seconds. 3 seconds to spare.
And he still had two or more seconds in change. There we go. Here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. We are green. We are away for an hour at Monza, and the race down to turn 1 is fully on here. And Madsen is instantly across the inside to cover off. Everyone trying to move through. As we're 2 wide, we're 3 wide, even in the midfield there, as everyone going to make it through turn 1. And all someone off across the grass already as they try to avoid the pack. They all compress up. Cope trying to make up some places there. Third one has had a shock. He's down 8 places, but Madsen up front already a second clear, Sam.
Maybe Lazarus, I think, maybe had a spin. I think one of the NZ drivers having a spin. Yeah, like you said, Furtwängler down 8 places so far. And a poor start as well for Maxime Marriott down to 6th place from the front row of the grid.
You mentioned about Roberts being the fast start. He's already up 6 places into 34th, Sam. Cracking start from him. That's 7 actually, up into 33rd. As what happening, you see Roberts there in the midfield. That Effect Simulations car just trying to make some more moves here. It's like Deutsche Payments cars with Joe Kleineck. It's at 4, but not quite the start you would have hoped for. Should have hoped for the slow down through.
Slow down for Nicholas Knowles. Trying to get out of it. I think he must have cut the second chicane. That's going to be a huge slowdown because he's waited so long. He needs to serve those slowdowns right away on that one, really. And Knowles seemingly has waited for far too long, and it sent him outside the top 10.
All the way down to 13th. Mario Valgert, not the best of qualifiers, and now he's locked in a battle here with Aidan Young. That's all over 6th place. However, Valgert has picked up 4 places so far. There's a big puff of smoke in the background. Tortoise, he's flying right now. He's already up 1 place. He wants another one. He wants Max.
We've got a car rolling in the background as well. I think maybe Dominic Roberts.
Well, it could have been Haria and Berg. They've had to come together, Sam. And if it's Roberts, well, Furtwängler as well came back on the track at the same time. They are teammates, and that's not what you want. But the blue on blue action.
We saw teammates coming together earlier on for Altitude Esports. Might see that again in a bit as your Tortoise right in the mix of this one. He's on the outside, the 1-3-2. On his inside is Maxime Marriott trying to come back through the order. He dropped as low as 6th place, but he's back into the top 4.
Sam, you said about could this be a draft train here at Monza? Well, these opening stages, it's like being out on the oval with NASCAR. There are 2 lines emerging, certainly down the start-finish straight and into a lot of corners in these early stages. As Young, well, boxed in a bit by Pro-Am drivers. Piccolo in front of him. and Alfonso behind them. Not, I mean, it's amazing that we've not lost as many drivers as what we have done. So, well, there you go. Because the commentator just about to say, well, and
if that's it, then that's incredible. As I think Lazarus, yeah, it was him or his teammate who spun already in this race. So that's 2 spins, and he's done very well considering. But no, when they rattled down into turn 1, about 5 wide, I did suddenly have an overwhelming feeling of this was a bad idea. However, they have completely proven me wrong, and they were really good. You know, they broke for the corner and everything. Well done. See everyone. João Afonso, currently back where he started in 10th place. He's got Albert Kutchop, who's up 3 places behind him. And check out the live timing link in the description below from SDK Gaming to properly see the changes so far in this race, because there's so many cars out here, over 40. Can't really describe everything that's going on to you. Nold recovering back through the order. He's back up into 12th. But I mean, Nick Madsen, he had a 2.5 second lead 2 laps into this race. It's starting to come down now, but the Danish driver really demonstrating what an advantage it is to start from pole position in a field like this.
It seems called Max Performance SRT, Sam. It should be Max Performance based on what he's putting on so far. He's on board with Philip Halmer. It always entertains me, Sam, seeing his driver camera, because it just looks like he's off Sunday afternoon drive, not too fussed. He's had a nice pub lunch. He's just, just fine, but just getting through life. Not in the mix of a battle at the sharp end of a Porsche Cup race in a big grid.
Aiden Young moving past Andrea Del Piccolo. Young up to 8th place, so that is a proper move for position. And this train going back to Tommy Molliord in 18th place. They have slightly lost track of Igor Kos in 7th place. Top of the amateur drives, by the way, currently Paul Collishaw. Seemingly there was an issue for our former AM leader.
Yeah, that Stromeri had, I think he came off track a little bit earlier on, Sam. He lost a lot of places. He's trying to keep half an eye on it. As we look back from Yatsorsis right now, that's Velgut. For a bit of redemption, he of course fell off in the final at VIR. That is up a place. He had a poor qualifying here. It's a 5th now. That's 6 places climb for the German. And over limit racing.
Yeah, it's good for Velgut. And good points as well for Impulse Racing. Last up of the race for his teammate Pascal Costa that last time around into the 1 minute 48. And we'll have a replay of this start. And really so much to shout about. I think probably the biggest loser, I guess, was Marriott. I think it was all on the launch for Marriott.
Well, Max Vertwangel had a oh wow, okay, we didn't see that contact. That's why he took to the grass there. Right, so that's what happened to the 2...
that was one of them.
Yeah.
Does he rejoin dangerously? Oh no, and then another one's come to join him?
That's not the effect cars though, is it? So look, it was just where they all got... So where there were cars on the inside of Ascari, that is a big shunt, and that's the car you saw go flipping.
I think it was Roberts.
I think that was for Roberts, because Vertwangel, I think, lost it first of all. It was just... Having that car on the inside there is what was just spooking everyone out wide and causing further collisions and compounding the issue as we see this intriguing battle here down in the midfield. See Sprout losing place after place. It's Lloyd Lamole heading through. Now the man from down under is having further down under in the overall standings as that's Chalet heading through the Frenchman. Down to 26, does have his fellow countryman Lazarus behind him for a bit of company, and his teammate as well.
So starting to get a little bit of orders, still those guys who started right from the back of the field with qualifying bans. They were making their way through. One of them, I think, Tim Dowd got interesting. He didn't have a qualifying ban, but it is surprised to see him down in 22nd place. But he is up 4 places as we see João Alfonso lifting and coasting. He wants to go an extra lap or 2. We're expecting these guys to be able to go, this is approximate, between 30 and 40 minutes on fuel. They're basically GT fuel tanks and GT fuel usage. But interestingly in these cars, you cannot take tyres and fuel simultaneously. You have to take them one and then the other. So I don't think anyone's going to be taking tyres, especially seeing it's Monza. Maybe if we were at like VIR or Barber, then maybe they would be taking tyres. But I think they're just going to be trying to go on a single set of tyres. So you've got to be careful in these early stages not to spin them up unnecessarily.
It's like the GT3s used to be, so for iRacing decided to change them all
I
at the same time.
think it used to be better when it was that, but... Yeah.
What, when it was changing the tyres separately from the fuel?
Yeah.
I agree with you, because it brought in strategy elements to quote-unquote the boring 24-hour races, as you call them. That's Thomas Cope. And a poor qualifying did Thomas. He's up 3 places. That's Philip Hammer of WS Racing. He's just headed past there. Thomas, one of the 2 camera... Well, we've got about 5 or 6 drivers, in fact, with their cameras. He's heading past Hammer, who the driver with his camera on. But Pereira, as the Portuguese driver, just displacing Hammer. Right now, just dropping down a couple of places, Sam. He's down 3 since race start and 11th in pro. Quite really hurtful. There we go, we've got 3 drivers with their cameras all in a row. That's what we like.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of want them to crash into one another, so that we can do a nice like, compilation of all their reactions to an instant. It's fantastic stuff to see. Yeah, really thanks to those guys, and of course anyone else watching along, maybe watching the stream back, who wants to have their camera up, do check out the details in the announcements channel in Discord, and you can see yourself up on the stream for future races. And this is pretty neat, with see Hammer on the right side of the screen there, chasing down Pereira after losing that position just a few minutes ago. Pereira with the slipstream from Cope, so he should be fine into relatively.
I think he knows he's on the stream, son. There's a wry smile coming from Philip Hammer's face there. Just onto the brakes they come, down into Tier 1.
Oh, it's very tight behind them as well. Taras and Batzik, you can just see them in the background orange car going at it. I think was able to make that one stick. Collishaw, meanwhile, in a battle with Tim Darracott, who continues to move up the order. To be fair, Collishaw actually started behind Darracott then. And he has just passed Darracott, so Collishaw's just playing faster. And I think Darracott, if he's got some sense, will wait behind. But he's not going to. He's going to try to respond straight away. And he's squeezing his opponent, Effect Sim Racing, back up a place. But I feel like that one will just rage on for a while, albeit if Collishaw continues to struggle under traction like that, it might allow the British driver to pull away.
3.8 seconds is the gap up the road, Sam, to Vartsig. So that's a lot of work. Even, you know, these drivers in the midfield, they might be pro-ams, they might be ams, but still got strong I ratings. They're no slouches whatsoever. There's Lars Vartsig of Gericke Motorsports. And you see he's 20th overall.
Paris, by the way, 2.9k iRacing. That is not reflective. He won the amateur championship in the Porsche Cups last season. He needs to get back out there in official racing because he is that's lower than me, and he's definitely better than me. So he should be, I think, 3.5 at minimum.
Matthias Berg. 2 Danes on the podium right now. However, Marriott, I was about to say, can they park him? But no, the bump draft, Sam. The bump draft.
Yeah,
and driver just trying to squeeze his way alongside to try and grow that gap. However, no bump drafting, but locking up going on behind them. That's Del Piccolo there, just locking it up as Afonso. No, sorry, it was Afonso. Apologies.
Yeah,
he was locking up.
That was a huge lock-up. Fortunately, it was on sort of the unloaded tyre. If it was on the left, then he would have been really in trouble. But yeah, it was just that inside tyre, and he did manage to get stopped anyway, but not exactly good for the tyre life. But those front tyres shouldn't be under too much stress. It'll be the rears which are really struggling by the end of this race. We will keep you up to date later on with the pit stops time to see if anyone does take tyres. We're not expecting anyone to. But this train has sort of been a bit stationary, 8th down to 17th, and actually Salvatore Lane is joining onto the back of this one as well. So this is 8th down to potentially 19th. You can just see Salvatore there in the North Sim Racing car, a little bit detached from the field, but like I said, he is catching ever so slightly. Maybe a bit too early for him, but Roberts and Kleinex, who both had issues. Kleinex just had one, I think, not long before the, effectively even, through Parabolica.
both into the pit, so it'll be interesting to see whether they get back running again. Zanon has been in space, he's well down to the back of the field. He came in on lap 1, so at the start of the 3D wrap squad course, the driver would have hoped for at his home race. And one of only, some 3 Italians running here today.
Samuel Jordan, who had a qualifying ban in 27th place. As Marriott's, I think he's had enough. He's thought, I'll help out Matthias, and now he's realised Matthias doesn't have the pace to keep up with the top 2, so he will now lead. Won't save up so much fuel, but he should be able to tow them along better as Young makes contact, and now they're having to spread either way. Afonso was the one who was spun round, and Del Piccolo, I think, had to cut the chicane.
He did,
and will have a big slowdown. There's Afonso trying to rejoin. It's not a good rejoin. And Sproul gets taken out. Fortunately, he didn't hit the barrier too hard, did Sproul, so he will be able to continue. But yeah, Afonso bumbling over the gravel and wasn't in full control when he rejoined the tarmac.
Well, it's a bit of a shame. I mean, Del Piccolo, felt sorry for him because obviously you do the natural thing. You take, you avoid the accident, and you get clobbered by that slowdown penalty, Sam. So it's going to really hurt his chances because he was running pretty much inside the top 10. He's now down to 12. Back from Aiden Young. That is not behind us. Then Quattrop Cope is. Say get past, but Del Piccolo trying to make his way back through the field. And likewise with Cope. Cope now at 5 places from where he started, Sam. After that really poor showing by his own standards, Cope. In qualifying is just ahead of these guys. That was making the move. I think it was that Maxime Marriott. Yes, again. No, it was Noel, apology, and Cost.
So Noel, did he make a mistake on? No, he didn't make a mistake. All these guys, Sector 1 was awful on this lap. They all lost a second piece, Sector 1, obviously because of that incident. So I saw he did a 37 and thought, something's going on. But actually, I think he was gaining pace and all that was Noel. Young is going to respond. Young, one of the, and this isn't a pun, it's genuinely one of the younger drivers. Like, I think it's not meant to be funny or anything. It wouldn't be if I was trying. But he is just one of the more junior drivers. But he's fighting very maturely there. He's left some space for his rival. And Nold is staying ahead, but I think you need to figure out who's fastest and then stay in the draft. You can see how powerful the draft is. The fact that Young can just dip back in again and move almost alongside. Can go around the outside actually. The Variante del Rogia. They're all very early on the base. A little bit of contact further back as well. I think Del Piccolo has spun round and now he's in the middle of the circuit. That's Philip Hammer who had nowhere to go. And Del Piccolo with a very disappointing couple of laps. And he's now trying to rejoin. We've got another spinner in the background as well. That time,
Stromeri?
I think you might be right. No, Lamol. Lamol was the one who spun around.
Del Piccolo in a lot of trouble right now, Sam. That is a really beaten up rear end that he's got. And now he's being absolutely clambered over by Samuel Jordan and Alfonso. So of course he's had his own issues in this race. Jordan at 15 places, remember, started from the back of the grid as you see Tiago Pereira right now locked in a battle with Toby Molyard, and Molyard just having to succumb there, just having to just take that outside line, just bide his time. However, Pereira, that is beating up front end, and he's going to really struggle when they come out onto the start-finish straight because Molyard. I think Tommy just needs to get past her. I know he's trying to be nice and be tactical, but I don't think Tommy realised just how beat up the front end of Cope's car, or what Pereira's car is, sorry. Because if he did see it, he would just be straight past. But this has worked great for Tommy because he was right at the back of that pack and he's been able to keep his car clean and all that. Hasn't had to do any overtakes, and yet he's up a bunch of places. We wait to see if he'll pull the trigger this time, but no, he's not going to. And instead, Kevin Vichar's just going to go past the pair of them. Oh, blows past the pair of them. Oh no! No! And that's going to be a big incident into turn 1. 3 cars off.
Molyard was boxed in there, and yeah, he needed to go for it. He needed to go for the move, and instead, being patient, lets him down.
Such a shame for Molyard for the progress that he had made. And well, we said the AMs, if they could keep it clean and keep on the track, then they'd be in for a good result. Collishaw leading in AM is 23rd overall, 6th place here. And Eisenring is up 7 places in 27th. Currently second in class. Ran out at the podium. As for Hontu, he's only up 6 places only. He's in 31st overall, 3rd in class. Meanwhile, up front, Madsen, he pulled out that big gap initially. He grew it to nearly 2 seconds, and now Costa has hunted him down. He said, Nick, you can pull away, but it's all just to avail, because I'm coming after you. And it's gone from nearly 2 seconds to 2 tenths.
Yeah, and Costa's basically leading this race right now because he's saved fuel by sitting in the stitching. He's not going to go for this move, I imagine, unless you might feel like he's fast enough to actually break the draft in it. But I think for now, no, he is going to go for it. He is feeling like he can break the draft, so he's going to go past. And this is going to be one of the most important parts of the race. I don't think, well, Madsen, to be fair, will fight any battle when possible. And for now, he is staying ahead, but oh, it's tricky for Nick. I don't know what I'd do in this scenario if I was Nick, because I think Costa could potentially pull away. So in that sense, Nick needs to keep him behind. But at the same time, you need to play it tactically. You need to save fuel by sitting behind another car and not get Marriott and Burke involved. But Nick is going to continue fighting this one. He wants to keep track position. Costa knows that he's faster. He doesn't. There's no point in getting involved in a crash. And I wonder if Costa, after that very resilient defence from Madsen, will just sit behind now and save fuel until the pit stop.
Makes me bounce across the curb like that.
Is that Lazarus?
That was earlier on.
Oh, Sproul, sorry, was that driver. I'm getting those NZ drivers confused all the time.
Beautiful move by Cope up the inside there. And there is one of the 3 laps strong.
Xenon?
Course, guys, yeah, that would have been.
I'm just going to be guessing these liveries. Bert Vangler, maybe?
Yeah, no, that is the Dutch Payments
Klein?
car of Kleinact. He had a big incident. That's right, coming through Parabolic and lost a ton of places. Had to go straight into the pits because of that one. That is the Maniti car.
And then this was, oh yeah, and then that was sort of how that one all kicked off. Del Piccolo spinning round.
The Del Piccolo's car,
really.
Del Piccolo was the driver who had to
apologies,
cut across the track there. Got a big slowdown because of it. Didn't lose too bad. You see Cope just tucking back into traffic there once again.
Velgut getting past. Nolder, apologies. Getting past 1 at 1. Yeah, and then this was the second A1. Just, I think that was Del Piccolo, wasn't it? And yeah, just going on the inside.
And this is the one we've just
the odd with the tap behind.
I mean, it's such a shame for Molyneux because, and if he'd just been more confident and committed and gone for the move, it would never have happened. You said about it, Sam. You should just go for it. Talking of going for it, could Costa go for it more and get past Madsen?
Yeah, he certainly could do, but I think he's feeling confident right now, is Pascal Costa, and understandably so. He is our former champion, as is Madsen, to be fair, we should say. Bert Vangler, finally, I say Bert Vangler is every car out there, but this is genuinely the 292 machine. But he has just lost up to Samuel Boykema there, as alongside Philip Hammer, who's already had issues at this corner so far when Del Piccolo spun right in front of him to come to a halt. And now he's got Tommy Molliord. So these guys, I feel like Molliord and Hammer collided earlier on, didn't they?
He did. Yeah, Alfonso has just got past Hammer, Sam. So that's taken the Portuguese driver up to 21st. These two up on recovery drives. Alfonso down 11, Hammer down 10, 21st, 22nd respectively for the Pro and Pro Arm driver. There they are with their cameras in all of their glory. I love the way they feel that power. It doesn't matter what's happening, just has a smile on his face the whole time. It's so wholesome. And then you can always tell when he knows that he's on stream, because all of a sudden you see this wry smile come about on his face.
Yeah, as Madsen just... Oh no, he's got a slowdown. He's cut the first part of it too much, I think. Yeah, because I don't think Madsen will let that one go so easily. Or did he? Because I feel like he was on the outside through the first part of Rettifilio.
Damn,
So I'm not 100%
all this battle has cost them dearly. Last time around, Maxime Marriott, I just looked up and thought, hold on a minute, that's him right onto the tail of them. It was incredibly close through Secondo Villante there. That's at 6 tenths. Last time around, Sam, new fastest lap of the race for Maxime Marriott, 1:48.7. These two are in front. Costa was the faster of the two by 2 tenths, but of 1:49.4. Just nearly just over half. No, it's around about half a second, isn't it?
And this is, I think, probably now the two most important laps of the race, or the two most interesting laps of the race. Is Costa fast enough to break the jar to Madsen? Marriott's a smart driver. We saw Marriott wait behind Burke earlier on before realising that Burke simply wasn't fast enough to keep up. He's willing to wait behind Madsen. If Madsen's got the pace here to stay in the tow of Costa, he will be happy to stay in that third place for Marriott. As this is a replay of a moment a few minutes ago, and this was Madsen. Yeah, was that a slow down? I don't think it is.
I'm not sure.
Unless you get one on the second curve, I don't think you do though, really.
It seemed like more on the entry to me, Sam. It seemed like it was quite far over it. Look.
No, I don't think that's. I think you have to be all four wheels over. I know that that's not how it's defined. It's the centre of the car. As here comes Marriott, and Madsen is losing the jar, so Marriott's going to try to get past right away here. And interestingly, Costa trying to give Madsen now the jar. So he wants these two to fight as much as possible, and Madsen will stay in second place. But they need to think smart here and not lose touch to Costa. But it's a tricky one. I think Marriott's got to go for it. It's the same situation that he found himself behind Burke. The car ahead of him simply isn't fast enough to win this race. Marriott has to get past in order to keep up with Costa.
I don't know about Matthias Burke here, Sam. He's the dark horse.
Oh no.
Ooh, Salvatore Lane. That's a mechanical issue, or
I think the front of his car was demolished. He seemed to have punctures on the front of the cars. Collishaw up to 22nd place. Hammer carrying that damage. I think Hammer will probably come into the pits any moment now. So too will Pereira to get that damage fixed. They do have a faster pair because we are entering the pit window.
Indeed. Weaving, ducking, diving position here. That is Samuel Jordan up the inside, getting the move done. It's oh no, and there's contact, and they're both in the wall. Pereira, he's managed to keep it going. Is everyone just trying to mix it? He's parked up right on the exit there of De La Roggia.
As Hugendorn in front of them has had his own incident. Where is he? Is he now alongside us? No, he's behind us.
I was going to say, I could see the tyre tracks there, Sam. Well, the choice for Apex misses. And Apex misses by name. Apex misses by nation there. So Hugendorn completely just getting it wrong through the first of the Lesmos.
Good news for Nick Madsen. He is keeping touch with Pascal Costa after all. I know I'm paying a lot of attention, and I hope I'm not being a bore by mentioning that gap between the two leaders. But it is really important if Costa can pull away. Otherwise, if Costa pulls away, it's pretty much Costa's race to be had. Whereas if Madsen, Marriott, and Burke can stay close, we can have a four-way battle. So hopefully they will all stay close. We want to see a run to the line, hopefully, which you can have on occasion here at Monza. Surprised that no one is coming into the pits. Maybe they're really tight on fuel. Here we go. Philip Hammett is now into the pits, so you can get to the end of the race here on tank of fuel. Limited to 60%. Remember these drivers. Afonso is past Chalet. Haven't really spoken about Alexander Chalet so far. He had a very entertaining race at VIR, I feel like. I think he won the B final, I think. He certainly had an exciting B final. And we haven't really spoken about it, but he's doing well. He's up in the top 20.
Strong result for him. A strong Mary into Piccolo in. Sorry, he's. But Hammond's going to come out, and I think he's going to be the highest position driver, Sam, of all of our drivers that have pitted so far. Yes, he is. He comes out in 32nd. So we're on board with Pascal Costa looking back through the rear ring to Nick Madsen. Marriott just behind him. Matthias Burke coming along for the ride too. Four-way fight for 3 places on the podium in pro and overall.
And you could argue Burke might be leading right now because he's been the driver in the draft for most of this race. Costa was in the draft for the first 20 minutes. Madsen has been in the draft for the last 7 minutes. and Marriott was in the job for the first 5 minutes, and then of course had to do a lot of work to catch up to the top two again. Will Madsen send this one, or is he saving fuel? No, he's saving fuel as Madsen. That's smart there from Nick. There's no point in passing Costa when Costa was able to pass him earlier on. So, but yeah, looking stronger now for the Danish drivers than it was a couple of minutes ago. Nold not pulling away from Young, and Quattrop has caught up to these guys. Quattrop only started in 14th place, but I think this is by far his best round of the championship for Tronzo Skolan, a new team to Apex Racing League. And Thomas Cope, I don't know what happened in his qualifying, Cope, but his race pace has been much better as well. It's a shame because I think Nold, any of these four drivers, I think had they had a better qualifying lap, they could have been right up there around Velgut's Koss range.
Danny Hukadorn and Forsted and Seifert into the pit lane from 20th to 29th respectively. Utilta still leading at 28 minutes and 13 mark, so nearly half races since Utilta still leading Pro-Am. Quattrop second in class with Ricard in third in class, 7th, 10th and 12th respective overall. For those drivers in terms of AM, it's Collishaw leading in 21st, then Eisenberg and Pasquale 24th, 25th overall, second and third in class respectively for the American and the Italian.
Shout out to Apex Racing Academy, the title sponsor for this series, and very generous of Apex Racing Academy as well to provide a free 1 month subscription to all drivers who sign up to this championship. Also a few free subscriptions as well for the winners in or the top three, apologies, in the teams championship, and also the Pro-Am and AM Drivers Championships. As here comes Madsen, he's not going to wait around too much longer. We are getting into pit stop territory. We're expecting about 5 more minutes until these guys are coming in. As Madsen, whether that was netcode or not, he certainly registered a contact there, and Marriott is pulling alongside. And who will lead by the time they get into De La Rogia? Madsen's straight line speed looks strong because he's got the draft from Costa up ahead of him. Costa tries to break that draft now, but Madsen being able to follow enough, and Marriott lifting out of it, just letting Madsen go and keeping this quartet all in a very close quarters.
Fascinating, this battle, Sam. Watching it flow. Like you said, I think another part of this is it's not only the fuel aspects of it, incident point limits. Very easy to pick up some off tracks around here. We know some of those drivers have done so. In equal terms, you know, if it's damage as well, those contacts.
Well, you mentioned
a few
that.
drive-throughs.
A few drivers have got drive-through. Hugo Dawn's got a drive-through. Sevilla has got a drive-through. Herrera is very close, he's got 18. Bert Mangler's got 14. Cope has got 17. So Cope's really on the limit as that's ascent. That was Del Piccolo getting past us. Zaharia backing out of it. And Clister's at the front this one, albeit with some damage on that Olympus Esports Stadium. But yeah, Cope's in absolute turmoil here. Half an hour to go. He cannot afford a 4X, otherwise that's it. His worst nightmare right now is having someone behind him trying to give him a bump shot, because that could be a drive-through, and around this circuit, a drive-through loses you a lot of time. That's 15-20 seconds down the track.
It's a tricky conundrum here for Cope, because also it's not just someone behind. Does he go on the attack? He then risks someone just coming into turn one, Westphalia, for example, or even coming through Cover Grande down to De La Rogia. It's tricky because you've got to be confident the car next to you is going to comply, because if they just move across and have one little contact, then that's it, game over for you. You may as well not have gone for it.
Yeah, I think he's going to drive very passively to the end of the race now. Is Cope, particularly before the pit stops, he's in a nice position, saving as much fuel as he is, so no chance that he'll be pulling any overtakes. Young is pulling off some overtakes though. He's just got past Nicholas Nold for 8th position. As these guys are very much by themselves. We haven't really seen Koss and Utortas, but Utortas casually scoring more strong points. He's not got the pace of the top guys as Utortas, but Yeah, if it ends like this, he will still be second place in the overall championship, I believe, with the issues that Costa had in round 1 and the qualifying ban that Madsen had in round 2.
This isn't good for Cope. You said about the whole
no, that was
draft. Oh, sorry, it was. Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm the one who gets confused between Joe and not you. You need someone who knows what they're looking at.
Oh, I'll leave this. Oh, no.
Yeah, Costa's in.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I thought Burke would be able to go the furthest because he was in the draft for that entire first stint, but he must have. I imagine Burke, and maybe I'm jumping to conclusion, I don't think Burke is the same pace as those other guys. And so I think he was probably having to push harder in order to keep up. But no surprise that Costa had to come in before Madsen and Marriott. He was leading for a good chunk of that first stint.
Interesting point. Valga in. So in with his teammate Costa, could we see those two work together for impulse and hold? Well, mainly it's also about Burke's on pit exit. Sam Costa's still stationary. Valga, Costa's still stationary.
Yeah, maybe he could be taking tyres, or he's got a penalty.
I'll leave you with.
Is he on the jacks?
Oh, Sam.
I think so. I think he's flat on the ground. Yeah, he's on the ground. Wow. Speeding penalty for Pascal Costa, it looks like.
Wow. It's all gone wrong for the German driver. It's been commanding out front. Thing is, though, Madsen and Marriott probably don't quite realise that. Unless, Sam, they have something like SDK Gaming, the most accurate live timing in iRacing. Then they would have spotted it.
Yeah, and I can use SDK Gaming to see that that was a 56.57 pit stop there for Pascal Costa. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure a 40-second penalty there, which by that timing tower, you can see will put him around 20th place. It's a bit iffy right now because a lot of drivers have been taking pit stops, but very unusual to see Costa make a mistake like that. Like I said earlier on, former champion in this series, as Madsen's having to deal with some traffic. Oh, Zanon. No, Daniel. And he's going to block the pit lane as well. They need to get into the pit lane if they possibly can.
Oh, no.
Madsen. Oh, Zanon does go into the pit lane. Well, Nick wasn't helping himself whatsoever there by going to the left when he knows he needs to go to the right. So putting a car between him is not smart. Marriott saving a bunch of fuel. He's looking extremely good out there. And that might well cost Madsen the race lead. But like I said, that wasn't all Zanon's fault. Madsen could have dealt with that though.
It's Ricard as well. It's Matthias Burke. Now, where is Matthias Burke out on track? So he's just coming through Parabolica right now. You can hear those. Oh, lighting up the tyres. Oh, nearly collision there on pit exit with Zanon. But I tell you what, I think Burke's going to take this one, Sam. There you go. He's ahead. He's ahead. There, you can see him out in front as Madsen comes out through the pit exit line. So Matthias Burke leads, and you were saying you didn't quite think maybe he had the pace, Sam. But just maybe a bit of sandbagging.
Well, you can see in the on the timing tower how Burke took much less fuel, 3 seconds less fuel.
He must be fuel saving then massively in that slipstream train, like you thought initially.
Yeah, I'm surprised in that case that Burke came into the pits as early as he did, because it seems like he had a couple of extra laps worth of fuel, but took the pit stop early, which obviously, you know, theoretically isn't the fast way to do it. You want to be on the lowest amount of fuel for as much of the race as possible, but maybe he saw the Zanon ahead and could anticipate how difficult it would be to come into the pits on the next lap and wanted to pit and come out into some clean air. I think Marriott will be a fair bit clear. They expect him to be 13 seconds stationary, similar to what Burke was, but of course he's had a couple of clean laps here, and the Frenchman is looking excellent to take this race win. Remember, he was down as low as 6th place on lap 1, but he has been fantastic ever since.
So the name to keep out for is Matthias Burke, currently 11th overall as Kos Yatsultas in 2. There's Nicholas Nold. Is he going to be in? Yep, here comes the next train in. Oh, no, a bit of a fake there from Quad Drop. Cope stays out too. There's our leader. So where is Burke on the track? So he's on the track.
Well, this is going to be close because he's stationed for a while here, Marriott. This is going to be very close.
So I think Marriott might have done enough here, Sam. Although, having said that, Burke is coming and he's coming at pace, so he's going to have the pace differential. Madsen, he's in there too. But I think Marriott, has he done enough? This is going to be so tight, and this moment defining Placing time for the race lead as Marriott has got it, Sam. He's done it. So Madsen's gone from the lead to essentially third. I know Quattrop and Cope are still ahead of them, but they are yet to stop. Likewise, Tiago Pereira yet to stop in 6th at the moment. Those are the only drivers. Yes, they're definitely the only drivers so far that haven't taken to pit road.
I don't think Burke's put enough fuel in the car. He is so much shorter than that.
But then
look at all those 17s. It's a sea of 17s.
But Stan, if he fuel saved, like you said, as much as you said,
Marriott fuel saved, and he took 2.5 seconds more of fuel. Now Burke's in the slipstream. I think if and pitted later as well did Marriott, so it indicates that Marriott potentially had more fuel, did more fuel saving than Burke. Now Burke, I think if Burke can stay under the split, under the rear wing of another car, he should be fine. But he will not be allowed to overtake Marriott until the last lap here, because I think he needs to stay in the draft and lifting coast enough to save a fair amount of fuel, because that is so out of whack with everyone else on track.
Good shot and Cope. They are into the pits. Tiago Pereira.
There you go. He's having to use the clutch. He's underfielded as Burke, and he's realising that now, and I just hope he doesn't fight Madsen too much, and Madsen will see that, and he knows he's got to get past right now if he wants to win this race.
So something is, he is failing that Pereira. Last of the drivers yet to pit. It's into pit road. Yeah, the alarm going off there as they drive past. There you go. I think this is where Madsen has realised, and he pulls past, and he's back in front of him before they've even reached the braking zone ultimately for Resvilio.
If Burke gets a podium out of this, it would be a very good effort, because as well, like, he can't, I don't think he can drive fast enough to stay in the draft with the car ahead, so he can't even use the drafters. Is that Zenon again? Yeah, Zenon's having a mare right now, and he's being lapped by a fair few more drivers. Of course, he nearly collided with Madsen earlier on. He's got quite a bit of damage on that car, but he's maybe already taken his pit stop, as Furtwängler is alongside Molliord.
Furtwängler, Sam. Remember, he had that big incident early on. He dropped to, I think it was something crazy, like about 20 positions. It was something major.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, was he on this roof? Or was that someone else?
No, that was Dominic Roberts, who was
okay.
Right, well, like a skateboarder grinding along the side of the barrier. Oh,
slow down.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And I wonder if he's picked up an instant for that as well, Cope. He's on 18. He has picked up an instant. So he's got 2 instants to spare. Other drivers on the fringe. Samuel Jordan. Also, Sproul has just picked up a drive-through penalty. Pereira with 2 to spare. And a fair few others as well. Sorchuk getting a drive-through as well.
What about Pascal Costa, Sam? Remember, he had that horrifically long stops. I mean, so if he was over the instant point limits, I don't think he would have been.
No, well, that would be a drive-through for Costa.
Very true. Very good point there, Sam.
It's a shame for Costa, because I think if anything, he's probably one of the lowest instance, because you looked like he was cruising, did Costa. He looked absolutely fine up there. I think him and Marriott were the 2 fastest drivers. But that speeding penalty, it seems like, has sent him back down to 20th position. You could probably get back up to maybe Kevin Richard in 11th place, but I think that's ambitious. If you can get top 15, that would be a good effort from the former champion.
Sold on for Hammer there. Past Victor Taras. Let's talking of Pascal Costa. Here he is pushing Tommy Molliord along. Now, remember when Tommy Molliord boxed in a situation like this? Well, what happened? Oh no!
He's passed it on.
There you go. And that was one of the effect cars. Oh, that was Max Furtwängler, who was just heaping praise onto. Oh, well, what is Pascal doing? He just slowed up there on the exit. Oh, what a bit of a pickle.
Well, Pascal can't imagine how bad this race has gone. You know, it's very rare that we have an hour-long race, and so it does allow more time for just depressing stuff to happen. And considering that, you know, he got wiped out on the second corner of the season. For this to be the lowest point of his championship is quite something. Here is one of the Apex Tech drivers. And that was 7 Jordan Batsu, is close to the instant limit, remember. And I wonder if that's what picked him up a drive-through penalty.
Contributing faster. So this was Madsen, Marriott, and Costa. Oh, they were on there's Nolder, and that was a big cut. Wow, leaping like a salmon there across the sleeping policeman. That's
wow.
Yeah,
way overshot there.
It's overshooting, Sam, and wow. I mean, he raced into that pit lane faster than me racing to the shops, the cake shop at closing time. Honestly, mate, it was shocking. As there's Afonso in live pictures just getting past Vartzig. It's in the replays. That is Cope. Well, not
Oh yeah, so that was odd for Cope. We saw him rejoin the circuit earlier on, and I thought it was a slowdown, but it was a slowdown. But like not in the way that I thought. I thought he'd cut the inside, but he didn't even try to make that corner there. Maybe a lack of concentration, missed his braking point by 20 meters, and realised best to avoid those very big curves, especially early on in a stint like this. As yeah, just the back marker. Let's see these guys go. Pascal Costa back to the pits, by the way, from the lead. And if I had money, I would have put it on him to win this race. But instead, it has not happened. Good news for Matthias Berg fans, and I was ruling out Berg, and now I feel a bit of an idiot, because I was convinced that he wouldn't be able to keep up with these guys. But the man with seemingly less fuel than anyone else is keeping tabs, and he's staying in the draft, and therefore he's saving fuel. So if he can keep up this, Matthias Berg, he could still win this race.
Sam, I just leant back in my chair to have a bit of a think now. Can he do this? Oh, Madsen's passed Marriott for the lead.
Yeah, doesn't want to waste time, does he? Maybe no, Marriott should be fine for fuel. Yeah, it's difficult to tell. These guys aren't used to taking fuel as well. Like, if anyone's going to make a mistake, it's far more likely that these guys are going to make a mistake than, you know, GT3 drivers, because these guys, a lot of these guys have never taken a pit stop in a Porsche Cup before, so it's very unusual for them. Are they all lifting and coasting there? That sounded very quiet as they were approaching Belarusia.
It did incredibly sound quiet. Let's find out. Let's listen in here into Lesmo 1. There's gingerly entrances, Sam, and then
look at Velgert.
Madsen stand.
Velgert gained by 1 second through Sector 1 on this lap. How much fuel did Velgert put in the car? 17.5, but Velgert has been punching a hole in the air this entire race. But Velgert's gained 1.5 seconds on this lap alone. I think these top 3 are really struggling on fuel, and
Sam, but based on that, your theory there, Sam, for me, the interesting ones are Igor Kos and Harados Utortis. Now, yes, they are a long way back, as viewers as well. They're 13 and 16 seconds off the lead, respectively, those two. But what they did do was they stopped on lap 20, whereas Madsen stopped on lap 19 and lap 18 for Matthias Berg. And they put in 18, they were stationary for 18 seconds. Madsen had a long stop in the top 3, and he was only stationary for 16 seconds. So, Kos and Utortis are not fuel saving whatsoever. Matthias Velgert, look, that gap's come down to 4.5 seconds, just under Sam. And here comes the bump draft. Marriott is pushing Madsen.
I don't know why Madsen overtook Marriott. Like, he was saving way more fuel by sitting in the slipstream. But instead now he's ahead. So I don't know if they're like got an agreement between the two of them that one will lead for a bit and then the other to help them both to the line. As Tim Darracott is up to 13th place, really good performance from Darracott this after poor qualifying. Yeah, Velgert gained by 2.2 seconds on that last lap on the race series. He only needs a lap and a half and he'll be onto these guys. He might be onto these guys with 10 minutes of this race to go.
Let's just, one thing's a semi-quiet, while I say that, let's just see what happens here. Lars Vartzig just in a battle with Darracott.
Taking it back.
Yeah, just instantly taking it back there from Darracott.
Apologies, no, that was...
Yeah, that was Vartzig getting ahead of Darracott.
But Darracott never got past him. That's just a clean move. No, sorry. I'll shut him.
Sam, Velgert, look, only 3 seconds. That was 4.5
Yeah, he's taken
seconds.
another 8/10
Look,
out.
look, that's him in the background there. You can see him visually now in the background of the camera shots. It's under 3 seconds.
Everyone else has got good pace as well. It's just these two are really slow. They're in the mid 51s. Everyone else in the top 10 are in the mid 49s. I don't think they're going to be caught by Kos and Yatortas. That might be a bit far. I think right now, if anything, they're saving fuel, trying to get their number right so that they can push flat out for like the last 10 minutes. But Velgut has definitely got a chance at this race, went from 11th on the grid.
Sam, it's almost painful. Listen, look, Velgut's down to 2 seconds now.
It's just a question of when can they push. They will be able to push eventually, but how many more laps?
Will it be too late?
Yeah, because if they have to go like this for another 5 minutes, Velgut will be past.
Look at the triple.
And be 5 seconds up the road.
Triple draft chain, but you know, and bump drafting down the pit straight there.
This isn't what they need.
Well, they know they're in trouble because look, it's 1.5 seconds now. Velgut is behind our top 3. The German is flying. Wow. 4 tenths in Retabilio alone.
Yeah, that was 2.5 seconds that last time. Thanks for everyone who's tuning into this one. This is an unusual thing, and it's always something that I think sim racing misses. It's the mistakes. Sim races are so perfect because you can do 1,000 laps of practice and you figure out the strategies, and you don't have the real life mistakes that we are seeing right now, where they're totally underfueled and ruin their strategy. And Mario Velgut, despite slides like we just saw, has got a great chance as he's trying to send it into Lesmo 2. Burke so early on the brakes, and Velgut couldn't do anything but take a podium place.
Wow, how did he avoid Matthias Burke there? That was frighteningly close. It's given Madsen and Marriott some breathing space, but this is not if, but it is when. And I mean, if you're Mario Velgut, take your pick. Whatever corner you want. Well, look, they're fuel saving on the pits, on the back straight, Sam, to the point of Mario Velgut is now boxed in and trying to find his way past. That is Madsen ahead of him. He's defending to the inside. This is clever from Mario. He's just keeping him pincered in there. But you know full well Velgut will just get down low now, drag out a Parabolica, and here we go. He's going to breeze past into turn 1. But Marriott is pushing him along. Oh, that nearly into the back of Madsen, who then has to defend, moves across, but it's too late. But Velgut's your new leader. And Madsen still holds on to second. Oh, and there's contact, and there's, well, they're bumping each other around, and Madsen's around. Madsen's gone.
And Marriott unnecessarily aggressive there, considering that he can send at any one corner that he wants, Marriott. I don't know why he was trying to overtake midway round, as we've got some extra corners being added to this Monza circuit. Vadzic and Darkot, who have already swapped positions a couple of times. Darkot very early on the pits this time. If Vadzic can actually get it stopped into the first chicane, he will do well if he was able to do it. And further back, Molliord trying to get past Chalet. Molliord coming back up through the order after taking a faster pair earlier on in the race, and he will be past the 222 machine, very tight on the apex, and the car's competition car will be very slow on the power, and that will invite Del Piccolo after his issues earlier on in the race. He's done well as Del Piccolo to be up into 19th.
I mean, he's been involved in a couple of incidents, likewise Topic Molliord as well. Incredibly well from the pair of the Chalet at the rear of this free car train, and somehow I thought that was going to be contact through De La Roggia, but no. They've made it through, Sam. We're okay.
No more contacts.
Are we? I'm not sure.
So, can Marriott now push? That's the big question. Or he seemed to be fine through Parabolica. He may have saved enough fuel here, and he might get a waft of the slipstream. He's certainly got a good straight line speed as they head onto the pit straight. And he may have done enough in the last 10 minutes in order to be fine. Does he lift in coast here? Yeah. So, no, he hasn't saved enough, and you can see he loses 0.2 of a second. Under braking for turn 1. Kos didn't get past Madsen and all that, despite Madsen's spin, but Yeah, Madsen will be under huge pressure later on, as here comes Quattrup, who's had fantastic pace through this race. Noel, Young and Quattrup have been in a trio for this entire race pretty much. Cope was with them earlier on. Quattrup not able to get past Young on that occasion. Fastest up of the race, by the way, Philip Hammer that last time out, 48.69.
Where does that come from, Philip?
And he's just at a lightning sector 1 as well. I think he had a real nice draft behind Tim Darricott in the second half of the lap. And yeah, you don't get a bonus point, but that one will feel quite nice for Philip, who hasn't had a great round. Been unlucky, honestly, as Philip, who's been involved in a couple of instances.
Sam, Molyard and Chalet into the pits.
No, they were just so far to the inside of the circuit that
well
it looked, having thought that they were.
Well, because we're going to have a few drivers, as you mentioned, who are probably going to be knocking on the door at this stage. You've got 7 minutes remaining. I mean, where has the last 53 minutes gone? From here at Monza, we see some picture-in-picture replays right now. Oh, this is the battle for the front, and you can see.
I thought for a moment here, Marriott and Madsen had figured this one out, and we're just going to drive side by side for the next 10 minutes and block off any which way. But if they were trying to do that, it didn't work, because very quickly Marriott was out of line, and that was very risky from Marriott to give the bump draft when he knew that Velgert was going to pull to the left. And then here's the move from so there was a little bit of a tap initially, I think, which put Madsen offline, and then yeah, I don't think the stewards will like that too much.
Best stewards as well, no less.
Best stewards?
Only the finest here. AFX Racing TV. Young Quattro engaged in the battle. 54 minutes in.
There are those fastest laps for each driver. See that Velgert hasn't got the fastest lap, slower lap than the 3 drivers behind him, but he put fuel in the car. It's worked wonders.
Darricott versus Vartzig. Round 27, maybe? I mean, these guys have been at it constantly, haven't they?
And Hammer, of course, with
no!
And that is round. Did Darricott not leave enough space on the exit? Or was he too ambitious to be out there? Is that car straight? Yes, it is. Yeah, it looks all right.
To get away with that one. I mean, he's still up in incredible 10 positions, this Darricott. However, I mean, he only lost 1 place to Scarlett Pereira. So he's very, very lucky in that sense. But he's definitely going to feel aggrieved as
Marriott's found some fuel. He's been looking.
But equally, Sam,
and he's found it.
Marriott, Velgert does not need. Yeah, he could see how much that Marriott was fuel saving. So Velgert, once he got ahead of them, job done. But he doesn't need to push, because he knows now everything is now on Maxime Marriott, who either has to half push, but then has no fuel at the end, or he then has to fuel save, which means Velgert then just gets away from them even more.
But Marriott might have the same amount of fuel now as Velgert. He may have done all his fuel saving he needs, and he may have got to a point now where he doesn't need to fuel save. And with him being in the draft as well, that's going to naturally help him fuel save. I wonder if Velgert's home to fuel save as well. No, that was just a really good lap. So on that last lap, Velgert set his fastest lap of the race, 48.86, and Marriott set the fastest lap of the race. So it might also be a question that maybe they exited the pit lane and got scared that their Delta was saying that they were going to do 1 more lap than what they anticipated. And now, because they've been going so slowly, that it's just ticked under a lap. If I was better at maths, I'd quickly figure out whether we are close to the cost. But it might be that where they're trying to figure out, are we going to go X number of laps or Y number of laps, and they need to try to save 1 lap of fuel for one and not save 1 lap of fuel for the other.
One thing we haven't discussed about so far is that Mario Margot is up 10 places, which is, I mean, from 10th to 11th to 1st. That's a big old margin. Not as much as what's going on down in 19th and 20th, though, Sam. I mean, if your namesake, Samuel Jordan, he's up an incredible 20. You know, for Samuel Kima, it's all like the Sams, isn't it? He's up 22.
Yeah. Well done to those guys.
Samsational.
Taras passed.
I love the way you just ignored that.
Yeah, I didn't fully hear it. Sam Station?
It's like Samsational.
Like
Sam. They're all Sam. It just.
Yeah, they got worse. He had a good one earlier. I can't remember what it was, but so Marriott's still lifting, kissing a little bit, but well, let's see what the lap times are this time. They're absolutely fantastic. And also Marriott's at the fastest 4th sector of this lap as well. They're on very low fuel. Burke has had to come to the pits, so I think he's... The thing is, we're not even close to like forcing an extra lap. Like, we've got 2 more laps to go, but it's not as though it's close to the cusp or anything. So it's just not that they've been confused by. So I'm surprised Burke has had to come in, because he wasn't fuel saving that much, Burke. And he's now had to do an extra tour down the pit, so it must have been... no, I mean, to be fair, I say that. Burke took so little fuel, didn't he? He took 12 seconds. So to be fair for Burke, I'm not even surprised that he was 2 laps short. Like, he pushed it way further than Marriott and Madsen, and Marriott and Madsen have had debilitating fuel saving results.
And you look now, I mean, Burke's come out in 12th place. A chance of the podium, for the sake of what, stationary another couple of seconds versus being outside the top 10. Was it worth it, Matthias Burke?
And you taught us up to 5th, Crossway under the radar, up into 4th. There's our pro-am leader. The leader of the AMS, by the way, is Eisenman. We haven't really mentioned that one.
I was about to say that, Sam. I mean, we haven't really given him any love whatsoever. He's up 13 places, into 21st as well, is the American. He's had a cracking race.
Don't know what happened to Paul Corby.
He had an incident earlier on, Sam, and so he fell down through the order, had to pit a bit earlier than expected. So he's back to where he started, 29th overall. And
he had a very long pit stop. He lost 20 seconds at his pit stop to call a short. Otherwise, he would be 3 seconds ahead of Eisenring right now. So that didn't help his cause. Here comes Oliver, who we've seen a lot of today. Not always for good reasons. And he's always with Chalet. And he's still behind Chalet.
Also, Pascal Costa, who was leading earlier, Sam, he has retired.
Final lap, by the way.
Yeah, white flag in the air. 1 lap left to go. He's going to take it. He's going to take it. I mean, we've got some key battles out on track. This one for the victory. Half a second. I think Velget's got enough up his sleeve here, Sam. I don't think, as quick as Marriott has been over the last few laps, I just don't think he's got as much as pace in reserve as what Velget's got.
His last Sector 1 Marriott wasn't very good. This one's better, so yeah, no fuel saving this time around for him, but yeah, that last lap wasn't particularly good for Marriott. That's a fantastic chicane. He didn't leave anything on the table whatsoever. He was risking picking up a slowdown, but that fantastic Variante del Roggio, where he launched it over the curves, has brought him back into play. It's not easy to pass into Parabolica. It's not easy to pass into Ascari either, but he's going to have a chance at either one. This one is going to come down right to the one.
Closing, moves to driver's right of Valga, underneath the bridge. With the old chicane into Ascari, they're side by side. It's a vantage Marriott. He's just in front of the German, who's being squeezed right now. And that is the Frenchman ahead. And there's only 1 corner left. The run down to Parabolica, but this could be advantage Velga, because he's going to be in the slipstream. He's closing. Marriott defends the inside. Velga on the outside. Who's going to get the best Parabolica? Velga's running a bit too deep. Can he get him on the switchback? But the finish line comes up incredibly short here. It's right on the exit pretty much. At the checker flag in the air. And it looks like Maxime Marriott's going to hold on for the victory here in Italy.
So unlikely 10 minutes ago when it looked like he had no fuel left.
Wow.
But brilliant driving from Maxime Marriott to save the fuel that he needed in that period of 40 to 50 minutes. He had the fuel to fight right at the end, and it is a race win for the championship leader. Velget's up those 10 places, but he will be frustrated. He couldn't defend it on that last lap. He was so generous through Ascari chicane. He could have forced his driver off the track. He was kind and he was playing within the rules in the end, but that did deny him the race win. You taught us top of the Pro-Ams. Eisenring is going to be top of the AMS, just clear of this furious battle which is still going on. Eisenring, in fact, yeah, Eisenring is only just ahead of Alexandre Chalet, and Molliod is not far behind.
So we're going to go 3 wide, down the back straight. Oh, this is going to be tight. So they all break into Parabolica. Oh, no,
Molliod loops it.
He's gone.
This one's going to come down to the Y. Can Eisenring hold on? Chalet pulling alongside. Eisenring held on by 100.
Amiga 100. Taras comes in ahead of Vangler. These two work very close across the line. 3 tenths merely separate those two. Mere light years away from the gap between Eisenring and Chalet. Wow.
So it does bring into question, should we actually have the elimination point? Because that was fantastic. That was probably race of the season. But I think the fact that we have that so rarely really caught the drivers out, and yeah, like I said earlier on, caused some monumental strategic errors and pit lane entry errors, because these guys aren't used to this type of racing. And it came down to the final corner. Marriott winning out 3 tenths ahead of Mario Velka. Madsen as well, exactly the same as Marriott, was able to go full pelt in that last 10 minutes. Had he not had that contact from Marriott, which I'm sure the stewards will be investigating, he would have been right in there with a chance. Igor Koss with a strong 4th place, who taught us top of the pro-ams again. Nicholas Nord finishes in 6th place, same as Aidan Young, ahead of Albert Quattrop. Those guys had a fantastic battle. Thomas Cope managed to manage those instants in the final half of the race. He was slow because of it though, and he ended up in 9th place, but still higher up than where he started. There's Kevin Richard, João Afonso, Matthias Berg with a late pit stop, half a minute off the lead. Philip Hammer was in 13th place. There's Lars Vadsik, Tiago Pereira, Tim Darricott, Andrea Del Piccolo, and Corey Lazarus rounding up the top 18. Lazarus, considering the setbacks he had, that was a good effort. Samuel Jordan, he had a qualifying ban, finished in 19th. Then Samuel Boykema. Ed Eisenring was top of the AMS. Behind that was Chalet, Pasquale, Taras, Moliord, Seifert, Lamole, Collishaw, who led for a bit in the AMS, Sproul, Furtvangler, Pahontu, Zaharia, Storchuk, Klist, Zanon, Sevilla, Berg, Stromeri was 3 laps down. And everyone will score points as long as they completed 1 lap, which I think everyone did. Costa, who led for a bit and was my favourite for the race win. Hugen, Dawn, Lan, Kleinecht, and Roberts, who, fortunately next week, as long as he didn't pick up any penalties this week, will not be starting from the back after getting used to that at VIR and Monza. So good to see Roberts, I think, after the break, who will be back where he belongs, near the top, as well, we'll be back in the studio in just a moment, but we'll give you some coverage of the highlights for now. See you back in a minute.
Wow, what a race it was here today. And I was saying to Sam coming into this race, I love the heat format. We've had such great action. We saw it, of course, with our very first season that we did a studio broadcast with the F3 as well. I do love the heat format. It's always exciting, always drama filled. You know, if you have a bad race, there's a second chance. But I mean, tonight, Sam, Knocked it out of the park, mate.
Yeah. I've never
doff
seen
my cap to you.
Never seen a race like it where all of the top 4 messed up the fuel. And it just invited our drivers. I don't know why. We are going to have some interviews with drivers, so hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it. But it wasn't as close as it wasn't as though they were close to making an extra lap. They were a minute away from making an extra lap, so they just all messed it up. Maybe we're basing the nails on the early laps when they were all fuel saving behind one another.
Oh, we seem. I mean, well, that's earlier on with Costa. I'm getting my impulse cars mixed up there, but it was the way. I mean, they were Tim Cox level of slow.
Yeah,
with their fuel saving.
You could keep up, I reckon.
I could keep up with them with my whole 1500 iRacing, Sam. Yeah. Should we have a chat to some of our drivers?
Let's have a chat.
Let's have a driver. Right, I believe we've got Maxime Marriott on the line. Maxime, are you there? Bonjour, Monsieur Marriott. Wow, congratulations. Talk to us about your pit strategy and after you came out of the pits, because there's fuel saving, and as we were just saying, I was just saying, Sam, in the studio, even someone as rubbish as me could have kept up with you with that level of pace that the top 3 were doing.
Yeah, thanks. The strategy was to save fuel a bit on the beginning, but not so much. I was a bit surprised of what others are doing. On the pit, I was pretty sure 40 liters was enough, and then after 3 laps after the pit, I saw I missed like 3 liters or something like that. So I started to save fuel like hell. We were lifting like 500 meters before every corner. It was a bit fun with Birk and Madsen. And then I saw a impulse car coming with more pace, so I tried to stay behind. So yeah, and then full throttle to the end.
I mean, you say about the impulse car of Mario Valgert there. I mean, it seemed like you guys were just, to use a British phrase, sitting ducks there. You were just, there was nothing you could do, and he was like, I think through the first chicane, he took something like half a second out of you guys. Was it quite, were you worried at that stage? Because it seemed like he got plenty of fuel. Or were you thinking, okay, I've probably done enough that I've got enough in the bag to fight at the end?
Yeah, I don't know for him, but yeah, for the 3 laps, last lap, I start to find pace again with the fuel. I saw it was close, but it will be enough to finish. So yeah, I start to try to catch him. I was like 1.5 or something like that, 3 laps before the end. And my tire management was giga today. My setup was really good. So yeah, I think I got a bit more pace than the other at the end. That's what made the difference. And I got an accident with Madsen. I'm sorry for him. But I think it's a net code on turn 1, but I have to see again what happened. But I'm sorry for what happened.
Okay, that's understandable. And I mean, just that final move for the victory, you're coming down into Ascari. Did you think that maybe you'd gone that little bit too early? Because you know what Monza's like. As much as you get one overtake done, there's still another chance for the driver behind to come back at you.
Yeah, I was pretty sure my tire was better than his tire at this moment. So even if I was not able to pass at Ascari, I know I need the inside of the last corner. It's impossible for any driver to keep up the pace on outside of last corner. So yeah, I just stay on the right of the track before last corner, and it worked.
There we go, Maxime Marriott's top tip there. Stay on the inside through a parabolic. Well, congratulations on what was a thrilling race, and well, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time because of Easter. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. See you.
It's Maxime Marriott, your victor here today in Pro, and of course overall. Wow, what a race for him.
Yeah, and to have that change, like as commentators, we had no idea what was going on. We didn't know if he was going to have to save fuel for that last 10 minutes or whether he was able to suddenly go full pelt. He was able to go full pelt, and was a fantastic job from him. Next up, we will have a chat with Aidan Young, who managed to get a very impressive top 10 finish tonight. But Aidan, I think the results is one thing tonight, but I think the battling is probably what you'll remember, because you were just in a race-long battle with a couple of other guys out there. It looked like it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it certainly was, especially fighting with a 9K driver like Nicholas Nolde and a couple other guys that are really quick as well. It was super fun, and to just be able to battle with them like that, it boosts my confidence a lot going into the next race, and I hope to like continue bringing that pace round after round and trying to stay up with them.
Definitely, yeah, it was super impressive how you, like you say, were able to keep up with those drivers. Talk us through like the tactics when it came to racing. I mean, at what points were you trying to overtake those drivers, and at what points were you deliberately staying behind?
Well, at some points when I tried to overtake, I'd get within maybe going down the main straight or the back straightaway where the draft is really strong. I'd try to go for a lunge at the end of the straightaway, and sometimes I wouldn't. Like, I would just pull back, because if I tried to make it, I would crash us, and I don't want to crash anybody. I want to try and keep it clean, and I only want to make the move if I'm like right there on their bumper and then pull out, because then we're less likely to make contact and crash.
For sure, and of course you're racing in the F4s as well as the Porsche Cups. We've now got a break week in the Porsche Cups. Does that just mean more F4s for you, or are you going to take a bit of a break from racing for a week? What do you plan to do with your week off?
I'm gonna keep racing. I never stop.
That sounds like an excellent idea. Congratulations tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give shouts out to?
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out to my team, No Limit Sim Racing, all my teammates from No Limits for supporting me, watching my race, joining the voice chat that I was in, just kind of cheer me on, tell me to send it and whatnot, gave me a little laugh to help me kind of relax during the race. I'd like to thank one of the team owners, Alex, for spotting for me for this race, and I'd like to thank their sponsors, Glitch Energy, Gamers Apparel UK, and Jody Valeting.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Aidan, and best of luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Aidan Young there, 7th place finisher, and of course do make sure to watch the Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship tomorrow on Apex Racing TV, visiting Montreal, which will be a lot of fun, one of my favourite circuits. But yeah, we've got another interview lined up, Tim.
We have indeed. Nick Madsen joins us now on the line. Nick, wow.
Hello.
Nick, I mean, up, down, around. You were in and around that top 3 constantly. I mean, just talk us through your race. It was, I mean, especially that start that you got, you were absolutely flying.
Yeah, exactly. I had a really good quali and was really happy with that. I tried to manage with Andrea Del Piccolo, my teammate, to get some slipstream, but it's too stressful in only 15 minutes. So I managed to. I decided to take it on my own and just drive as good as I could. And yeah, in the beginning I had a really good start, and I actually did a full race stint earlier on today. Tried to manage tires, and I find out it was so important to take care of your tires, especially in the first 10 laps, to have a decent pace at the end. And I was maybe saving a little bit of tires in the first 5-10 laps, and then Pascal caught me, and yeah, it's so strategical to race here at Monza, because nobody wants to lead, because how much you can fuel save is just amazing on this track.
And I mean, you're saying about that, obviously, we saw after the pit stop just how much you as a group of top 3 were fuel saving. before the pit stop, how much were you fuel saving in sort of in contrast, in comparison to after the pit stop?
I was watching my mirrors a lot for Pascal, what he was doing, and I could see he started to back off quite a lot earlier than the braking points, and then I started to do the same because we had a decent gap to P3, and then because I knew if he started to fuel save, I also have to do it, and I was actually quite good on fuel until. Yeah, I think we had 10 laps to go. I was a half lap too low on fuel, and then I really started to fuel save, and Maxim did the same, and it was so strategical. And yeah, my feel good caught us in the end, and yeah, I'm really not happy with the result after what happened in turn 1 with Maxim. But yeah, these things happens. But yeah, in my opinion, he should not get the win today. I really wanted to win.
I mean, you were fully deserving of it, definitely. And Maxime, you know, when we spoke to him earlier, did apologise. He believes it's Netcopy, so he's going to have a look back at it. You know, I'm sure it'll be one of the stewards' review, anyways. But I mean, having said that, I mean, sort of going forward throughout the season, the pace that you've shown, and in the build-up, I was showing some of your great overtakes you did at VIR. I mean, you've got to be really feeling good about fighting for the championship potentially.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason why I'm here, is to win this championship. I had we just finished the Danish Porsche Cup, Carrera Cup, and I managed to win 2 future races, which I'm really happy with, competing against you know, PESC drivers, and yeah. But it's so difficult. But you know, the penalty system here is quite fair. But maybe at Brands Hatch I got a little too hard penalty in my opinion. But as I did that, I knew the standard for the rest of the season. And actually, at one point I was closing the door for Pascal in turn 1, and I was getting a little bit too wide and squeezed him at the exit of turn 1. And then I actually let him go afterwards because I'm so afraid of getting a penalty. So in my opinion, when Maxim does that, and in the end he should maybe think about the same to not receive a penalty. But yeah, I'm so afraid of getting a penalty because you are quite set off to win the championship if you get too many penalties here. So I try to avoid everything I can and do the best I can.
Well, I mean, raw pace is definitely a large part of it, and you've definitely got that in abundance. And, well, before we let you go, Nick, is there any races in particular in the forthcoming calendar that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, if you wait 2 seconds, I can take a look on the calendar. We got it here. And let me see, I'm really looking forward to Spa, which is the next round. I love Spa, especially in the Porsche Cup. It's so amazing, you know, power sliding in almost every corner, in the fast corners. And Silverstone, I actually want to race in Danish Porsche Cup there. So really looking forward to the upcoming tracks.
Oh, definitely look forward to seeing you there. Well, Nick, commiserations in some ways, but congratulations on, well, just the sheer pace that you showed today and some great racing. It's Nick Madsen who picked up 3rd here today from Monza, and well, definitely some fighting talk there. The Scandinavian Danish Viking in him coming out. That sort of spirit.
It's going to be a good rivalry, I think, between Maxim and Nick for this season. So yeah, we'll see what the stewards decide with that one. Of course, just as a clarification as well, I mean, the potential penalties that Maxime could get for that incident could be a qualifying ban for the next round, could be a time penalty, which could potentially put him down to 3rd or even lower in the standings. So a few different options that the stewards will have at their disposal. Next up, we have got another driver lined up for us. Albert Kutchup is lined up for us now, finishing in a fantastic 8th position. And Albert, congratulations out there for that result. We were actually speaking to Aidan just a few moments ago, and he was very complimentary of the guys that he was racing, including yourself, and it looked like it was a lot of fun from your perspective as well, racing with Aidan and racing with a couple of others of those guys out there.
Yeah, it was really fun. Because they were fast and I was just being in the slipstream. trying to gain some positions, and I was just trying to gain as much time to win the Pro-Am class today.
Yeah, and I think perhaps the most intense point, I guess, was during that early stages, that first 15 minutes. I think there was a train of 11 of you. You must have been around in the middle of that. What was it like battling such a big pack like that?
It was quite fun, because I have trained a lot of... I have practiced a lot going into this round, so I knew my pace was really good. And I was just trying to stick with the fast guys and hope that the guys behind me would crash or make a big gap, so I could pull away, which happened. So yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, that works extremely well for you right there. And then we look ahead to Spa in a couple of weeks' time. Do you think that's going to be more slipstreaming like we saw tonight, or is it going to be a bit more of a return to what we saw at Brands Hatch and VIR, where it's sort of where there's more potential for drivers to pull away from one another?
I think it's going to be a combination of both. The slipstream is very what's called high on Spa, so you can really gain a lot of time on the camera straight. But I also think there is a lot of difficult corners, so the fast guys will pull away. So I think I have to try to stick with them like today, so I can pull a gap and make some good points for the championship.
Definitely. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Albert. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Aiden. It was a lot of fun driving with him. Not defending that much, so we could stick with Nicholas. Yeah.
Well, really good to see that good sportsmanship from you guys. Hopefully we see you guys battling more to give us more entertainment for the rest of the season. Yeah, once again, thanks for having a chat with us, Albert, and we'll see you back next time.
See ya.
Albert Kottrup there, who, you know, he was, I think, speaking himself down a little bit. I think Young was a bit the same, where they was like, oh, I was just staying in the draft of some faster drivers, but they had very good pace, and I think both of them maybe qualified outside the top 10. I'm fairly sure Albert did at least. I think had he qualified a few positions further up at another 2/10 in qualifying, I think we could have seen him up in, you know, your Tortoise rounds, Koss rounds, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th position, because yeah, he was extremely strong.
I mean, like you say, downplaying it, I was just keeping their draft. You still got to be quick to keep in their draft. I couldn't do it, but then I am rubbish. So that's maybe, you know, part of it. You know, it is what it is. But I mean, there are a few, they're dark horses, aren't they? Because they're putting in that sort of performance round here. Just what can they do elsewhere? I think Spa's going to be a real acid test for some of our drivers.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I was asking Albert there, you know, about the slipstream, but I do think the slipstream is going to be very strong there, and there are a lot of places where you can overtake around Spa, some very big braking areas. So I think Spa is going to be sort of an indication of what this round would have been had we had the heat format. Because we are going to see slipstream, we are going to see in those 10-minute races, drivers just stay behind one another, have long queues, and then send it on the final lap of the race.
That's the thing as well, with those short heats especially, Sam, at 10 minutes long, that's not a lot of laps around Spa. Realistically, you know, you've got key braking areas, obviously the bus stop being one, into Lacombe and La Source, but with realistically probably, what, 3 laps, would we say, in the heat format? It's only in the entry heat, maybe?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Maybe, yeah. It's not. There's only 3 or 4 sets of opportunities. That's not a lot compared to even Monza's a much shorter track, and that's still a long track.
Yeah. So it'll be a very different test for those drivers. As we return to the heat form. Of course, have got these hour-long races for Le Mans and for Nordschleife as well later on in the season. So very much looking forward to that. Of course, if you do want to sign up to these championships, because we have a break week next week, there will be a reduced price just for the remaining rounds of the championship. So for the Porsche Cup and the Clio Cup will be just £15 plus VAT to enter for the remaining rounds. You can also sign up for the Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship as well, and the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, the Prototype Championship, with just a couple or more rounds for that season to go. Check out apexracingleague.com for more details on that, and do check out our Discord as well. Link to that in the description below, where you can see all the updates for the upcoming leagues. Yeah, really looking forward to well, it's disappointing that I've got a break week, honestly, because I think the first 3 rounds of this championship have been really fantastic. Not just the tight racing, but also, on the most part, very fair racing as well. I think we've got a fantastic crop of drivers for this season.
We have, and as well with the new introduction, the first time we've ever done this here at Apex Racing TV, the support races with the Clio Cups beforehand, it's just enhanced it even more. So you get some great racing in that. It's just like a little sorbet to cleanse the palate before you really get stuck into the big, juicy, meaty Porsche Cup races later on. And, well, just did not fail to disappoint, whether it was great manoeuvres, a bit of drama, or drivers that just can't count when it comes to amount of fuel to put in.
Exactly, yeah, that's the one thing that a few of these drivers will be working on tonight, is
all
fuel packers, deleting
Sam,
whatever application they had before, and
subscribing.
And subscribing to SDK Gaming.
Yeah, but there's free 14-day trial.
Exactly. They wouldn't have run out of fuel with SDK.
No, because it also shows on their fuel calculator not only laps available left, but also time. With it being a time race tonight, they would have known.
Exactly.
Never have had that issue, Sam.
Yeah.
Never. On that bombshell, it's time to end. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you after the Easter break in 2 weeks' time, where we'll be live from Spa. I've been Tim Cox with Sam Fitzpatrick. Have a great holiday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.